Thanks for listening to the Adulting is Easy podcast, where we make adulting easier by making money easier. This is your host, Lauren, and I'm joined today by Aric Aumond, a 31-year-old engineer, business owner, and real estate investor. He's also my husband of almost 5 years, although we've been together for almost 9. Aric enjoys red wine, although not as much as I do, boating/fishing. Sometimes fishing is really just boating, playing the piano, and playing sports like golf, tennis, pickleball, and volleyball. How'd I do there on your bio, Aric?
You know me so well.
Did I miss any sports, or was golf, tennis, pickleball, and volleyball good enough?
Well, basketball. I did play in a league last year.
That's true. Okay. Well, happy early Valentine's Day.
You too. Happy Valentine's Day.
Thanks for being here.
Yes, this is going to be fun. This is going to be a very interesting topic, and I'm seeing some potential trap questions here that I'm a little concerned about.
Yeah, our goal for today is to make adulting easier for listeners, like it always is, by discussing a personal finance topic, since managing money is a big part of adulting. So today, Aric, we're going to ask each other some financial questions like you just alluded to. And these are recommended by Equifax to ask your significant other while you're dating. And I'll put the link to where I pulled these from in the show notes as well. This should be fun. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
And you received these questions when?
Just a couple minutes ago.
Right. Okay. So there's not been a lot of prep. So we'll see how this is. Okay. First question. Are you more of a spender or a saver?
I know what you would say about me. I feel as though I save quite a bit of money, but you would say I'm quite a spender. I feel like I'm somewhere in between.
I would honestly say you're somewhere in between. I would say if you never met me, you'd be a spender.
Yes, that's accurate.
Okay. I don't really think you are, but I think you were heading down that path.
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. You've put me through the boot camp of saving. So, how do you typically spend your disposable income?
I don't.
Was that because you don't spend any money or you don't have any disposable income?
I don't spend it. Well, the other day I bought, actually on eBay, a used Gucci purse.
Yes, I do remember that, yeah.
The question is, like, what is disposable income? And I never feel like anything should just be saved. And you actually get on me about that. You think I should, like, buy some things sometimes.
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't really buy much. And when you do, yeah, you buy some used purses. Like,
I love designer bags. Okay, what's the most money you've ever spent at one time?
It was last year, actually. It was one of our investment properties. It hurts to see that much money leave your account.
What was it?
It was like 80-something thousand, wasn't it?
Like, that wasn't any one thing.
What do you mean?
What? Oh, you mean when you bought it?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean buying? Oh, yeah.
When we closed on our property.
You put in 55.
Right, but I saw it leave our account, and it was a much larger number than that. But even still, yeah, that's probably the most, I guess, that I saved for something.
Okay, I wasn't thinking about real estate with this question. I thought when you said last year, I thought you were going to say the boat motor. That's what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, that one hurt too. That was a little bit less than that house, but yeah. Okay.
So do you feel it's important to ask my permission before making a large purchase?
You know, this is one of those trap questions. Because now she's going to make me air my dirty secrets about what I buy behind her back. You know, I think it's relative to what a large purchase is.
Right.
For me, I say anything less than $2,000 to $3,000. I don't feel inclined to disclose that.
This is so unrelatable.
But you know, when you start getting on the other side of that, then I do think, like, I wouldn't go out and buy a new car.
Right.
Without discussing
or like a camper or a boat
or
a
boat
property.
Or a camper. I mean, even the boat motor, we had a conversation.
Well, yeah, it was that or never drive the boat again that we spent $20,000 on.
But like, you know, there were some other items, like I bought a piano last year. That was a few $100s. I didn't run that by Lauren.
That was weird. You just left one day and you're like, I'm going to pick up a piano. And I was like, what is happening?
For the record, I got a spectacular deal.
It was a good deal, and you had a good spot for it, and it was in your office. It's not like I did need to sign up. Yeah, I agree. Obviously, the large purchase thing there is the key. I'm trying to think, like, I don't I don't know what $1,000 maybe. $1,000 I think you should ask me, unless it's for the boat, then I actively don't want to know.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like, there's accessories for that boat that she does not know about.
Yeah, that I don't want to know about, because like we have a good marriage and I'd like to keep it that way.
Yeah, I think it just depends. Okay. Which expenses would you cut to reduce your total spending?
I would have to drink less wine, I think, and go out to eat less.
I think those are two good, healthy decisions beyond the financial element of it.
I don't think like that.
Do you keep an emergency savings fund?
We sort of do.
Yeah, we do, but it's hard to, yeah, I mean, with how sporadic our lives are and our income and expenses, that's a tough one. But yeah, it's definitely something that we're aware of at any given point in time, what expenses might come due, and we really tested that last year.
We did. And an emergency fund is often said to be 3 to 6 months of living expenses. But when you have your living expenses covered by the real estate, like ours are, really our emergency fund ends up being for real estate stuff, for the properties, more so than like a personal emergency fund.
Right, and then bringing on another investment property, kind of, you tap into that perhaps, and then it throws it off, and you have to rebuild it. So what are some of your long-term financial goals?
I feel like I've basically hit them. I don't know, maybe that means I should create more, but I wanted our real estate to cover our bills. That's technically financial independence. Wanted to hit it, and I did. I left my job in 2023. I guess next it's like you leaving your job, but because you own the firm, it's a little more complicated than me leaving. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's been a goal of yours for a very long time. I think since you made the realization that if you didn't do something different, you'd have to work at 9 to 5 for the rest of your life. You know?
Yeah. And I liked my job. Like, I liked my career, but I just was afraid that someday I might not.
Yeah.
And that kind of did happen. Okay, what would you do if you received lottery winnings, an inheritance, or any other unexpected windfall?
This is an easy one. Big house on the water.
Okay.
And depends on how big, but...
What are you expecting? Lottery winnings, an inheritance, or another unexpected...
Well, I don't play the lottery, so I'd have to be insanely lucky to win the lottery and also not play the lottery. An inheritance...
Do not wish my parents dead right now.
I mean, yeah. Any sizable one, you know, yeah. Unexpected windfall, I mean, I don't know. Like, I trip over a sack of cash. Like, maybe the sale of a business someday, right. You know, that could fall under that category. But, yeah, I think I would be interested in getting a nice house on the water.
I knew that one. Okay.
What is your credit score?
It's like 8 something. The FICO is like 8 something.
And is that good?
That's good. That's almost as good as it gets.
Mine's not that good.
Is it not?
No.
You're in the 7s?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Like when Bank of America sends you that thing, you click on it and it says 7 something?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because I'm a male and...
They do hate you.
Yeah, I've never had a good relationship with... Bank of America or Chase or any of those people. Like, I always get whenever I go to make a purchase, they flag it and they decline the transaction.
And then I can make the same purchase on the same card, but it'll go through because I'm a girl.
Oh, and I can never get cash out of the bank either. That's always
you.
A nightmare.
Yeah.
I can get only in increments of $20 or something crazy.
I don't think technically FICO would say that your gender is one of the calculating factors.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay, fine. It's not in there. It's like length of credit history.
Well, okay, it could be related to my cap on my credit cards, which,
right.
You know, you and I could put the same information in, and they don't raise my limit as much as they raise yours.
Yeah, your
utilization. So it could be indirectly related, maybe.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, I'll give you that.
Do you regularly check your credit reports and credit scores?
Bank of America sends that email every month, I think, and about once every 3 months I click on it. If you call that regularly. You can get them for free at like freecreditscore.com, I think, which actually the government maybe bought. You can get them like once a year for free, but I don't do that. And I'm sure the Bank of America one's not perfect. Like when we've gone, like mine will say 820 and then we'll go to get a property and the paper that they show me says 805. Mm-hmm. So there's like some variation there.
Yeah. I just click on it from time to time. It does pop up, and I'm like, okay, let's check it out. But that's only one of the 3 different ones.
Well, tell the listeners also what you do with your credit.
I got some notice in the mail that some loan was taken or applied for, not taken, but applied for that I didn't recognize. So since then, I do put a freeze on all of my, credit score accounts.
On like the big 3.
The big 3.
Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion.
That's right. Yeah. But it does make it kind of a pain when you apply for a loan or a mortgage or credit card, whatever it might be.
Yep. How many credit cards do you have?
I didn't count, so I can figure it out right now. I have a personal credit card. Or is that a joint? We have a joint and a personal?
We have a joint and a personal.
We have a joint, personal, and I have a business credit card.
You have Lowe's.
I have Lowe's, Best Buy,
Mm-hmm.
that I know. Oh, I do have an American Express that I never...
Right.
Actually, I did use it when we were in Mexico. Because that's all they took. So that is... Was that 6?
Yeah, that's about what I have too. I have Home Depot, not Lowe's.
You have Home Depot. So
Yeah.
we got that covered.
Yeah. We usually go to Lowe's because they give you 5% off. Like Home Depot actually doesn't do that with the card.
Yep.
All right. Do you know the outstanding balance on each one of those cards?
Yeah, generally.
Yeah.
I think for the most part, I tend to pay them off right away.
Yeah.
I don't like even like before the statement balance is even due, I'll just pay them off as soon as they post.
If we have the cash.
If we have the cash, which again, going back to last year, we never paid a penny in interest, but I did sometimes wait until the statement balance was actually due.
Like until we got a big Airbnb booking or something.
Right.
It got a little tight last year. I've been open about those woes. How much debt do you currently have? Dun, dun, dun.
Ooh.
I'm excited for this.
Well, I mean, again, this goes back to the general connotation around debt as though it's a bad thing. I feel like we have no bad debt or, no consumer debt. All the credit card balances are paid off. We have no car loans. We do have a camper and a boat, both of those, and no loans on either of those. So really all we have from a debt perspective is in real estate. And most of it is at really good interest rates.
Yeah, it's all 5 or under. How much is that?
It's about $1 million, isn't it?
I think it's more than that.
Well, with the latest edition.
Yeah, I think it's like...
It's in that realm.
4 plus 4 plus 3 plus 3-ish. Is that right?
Yeah.
What is that? 8? That's like 1.4. Yeah, I think that's right.
Wow.
It's a lot when you say it like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as you always say, you got to look at the other side of the balance sheet.
You got to look at the other side of the balance sheet, baby.
Have you ever had to deal with debt collectors?
I sure have.
Oh, please do tell.
I know. This is bad. This is pre-you. When I was 23, I got my tonsils out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on my dad's insurance, and he said he would pay for the tonsil surgery. And I think maybe he paid for half or something. And the other half went to collections, but I didn't know that had happened.
That totally sounds like your dad. He would pay for half of it.
I'm sure it was like the only bill he saw or whatever. He paid it immediately, but like I actually went to buy a car, and I was going to I had like 10 grand. I was going to finance like $5,000 of the car. And they ran my credit, and it came back at 620. So I had bought a house at like 23 years old at 20. It had like 700 credit score, 7 something. And it went down to 620 because of that. And then so I couldn't really get the car loan. So my dad loaned me the $5,000. I think because he felt bad. And he paid off the tonsil surgery, which wasn't that much. It was like, I think this happened over like, it was like $1,300 or something. Like it wasn't like a crazy amount of money. But yeah, so like people were calling me, but like I thought they like had the wrong number. But like I was like, everything's paid up. Like there's no reason for this to be happening.
Didn't we also have something maybe not quite make it to collections, but related to health? Was that like...
It was only like $300. Do you remember that? Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Vaguely.
It was like a bill, and I think it had to do with me changing my name.
Yeah.
And I was like, please don't let this go to collections. Like, oh, it's not going to go to collections, honey. And then she pulls it up, and she's like, oh, it went to collections yesterday. I'm like, can you get it out? I'm trying to pay it. Like, Jesus. But they wouldn't let me pay in the wrong name.
It's funny how both times is around health.
That's not
insurance.
funny. It's not funny.
Like it's just...
It's like ironic. It's terrible. I hate our health insurance system, but That's a topic for a different podcast.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Maybe not this podcast either. So how do you plan to teach your children about money?
Well, if we had kids, I would probably do a lot of what my parents did for me because I feel like it worked. They just, any question I had about money, they answered it, which I think is pretty unusual. I didn't think about it at the time, but like I'd be like, Dad, how much money do you make? And he would just like tell me. And I'd be like, how much was our house? How much is our payment? What's our, they would explain interest rates to me. And I have a very vivid memory of them buying a Yukon XL when my sister was born, which she's 21 now. And I remember they were going to pay cash for it, $40,000 at the time. They're going to pay cash for it. And they didn't. And they instead chose to make payments because it was 0% financing. Mm-hmm. And I remember asking them about that and them explaining it to me that it made more sense to not pay it off. So I probably would do that. I don't know that I would like create lessons or make it this like really specific thing. I probably would just treat them like they're little adults, like how I was always treated.
Yeah, I think that's key is just talking to them as though they're adults and kind of bring them into those conversations, you know.
What about our niece and nephew?
What about them?
Will you answer their questions?
Sure.
What if they ask you how much you make?
I'll tell them.
What if they ask how much their mom makes who works for you?
I'll tell them. she'll be making more than me soon.
That's true. She's really good.
So do you plan to contribute to your children's secondary education? I'm saying your children. Our potential children.
Just mine. You're not. I assume secondary is like college.
Yeah.
I think yes. I don't know that it needs to be 100% covered by us, but your mom got the Florida prepaid for you. My dad did the same thing for me, my mom and dad. So yeah, I think I probably would do that. I think we would not be anywhere near where we are had we started with student debt.
Yeah, I mean, if they want to go to college, then we'll make sure that happens one way or another. I would expect that they would get scholarships, you know, to help cover that.
Do you care? Is it related at all to the major that they choose? Or is it like carte blanche, whatever?
I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah, that's a tough question.
We don't have kids, so we really can't.
Yeah, I mean, would I have an opinion on which major they pursue? Absolutely.
Your mom called it no bobo majors.
Yeah. I couldn't do liberal arts or history, or I was basically limited to science. I don't know, math, medical.
She wouldn't even let you do business.
Yeah,
which is really insulting to me.
Yeah. I don't know if I would have want to do accounting or something. That probably would have been acceptable. So would you accept a loan from a friend or a relative?
Yeah, I mean, I already accepted a loan from my dad for the car. I already talked about that. I borrowed money from him for my second primary home so that I could put 20% down instead of 10 and paid him back after that. So, yeah, I would, and I always pay it back. I don't love it. I don't like owing him money.
You were really uncomfortable.
I was so uncomfortable. I hate it. It
was very important, and we took a small loan from him for the boat too, didn't we?
I forgot about that. Yeah, that was mostly you.
Yeah.
You too.
I mean, we paid it back. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what that was like. Not even 6 months.
Yeah, I think we told him 6 months and it was like 3 or 4. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't like it. I would, but I don't like it. But I'm cheap enough that I would do it. All right. Would you lend money to a friend or relative in need?
You know, it really depends on the situation.
It depends on the friend or relative too.
Yeah, that's true as well. I don't know, when a bank does underwriting before they loan a person money, I feel like I would maybe do the same. Need to understand how it's going to be used, and the credibility of the friend or relative, would be taken into consideration.
Yeah, so it's not like a flat out no, but it's like how much money, what's it for, and who is it? There's a lot of other questions there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you plan to support your parents or other relatives as they age?
I hope not. I hope it doesn't come to that. I don't think that it would, but Yeah, so, but on the planning side, I suppose I would be in a position too, depending on what plays out. But yeah, I hope that's not in the cards.
Yeah, we're very lucky like that, where it doesn't really seem. I guess there's a world where we have our parents need our financial help, but I don't think it's very likely.
Yeah.
How much financial assistance would you offer your sick or elderly parents? Okay, same thing, basically.
Yeah, kind of similar question. Yeah, I mean, they're not going to be living under a bridge. I will never let that happen.
Yeah.
But, they're also not going to be living in a mansion with multiple servants, because I probably won't be there either, so.
Right. All right, when you were growing up, did your parents discuss their financial challenges with you?
Now, this was an interesting one. I don't know that they really brought me into the financial situation, but, certain points there may have been cues, in one direction or the other, as to there were financial challenges or some good things going on, but never directly was it discussed with me. Like we got a pool one year, right? I mean, that was like, okay, we're doing good. We got a pool.
Yeah.
I went to private school. No, things are good.
But your mom and your dad were not together, and your mom asked your dad for extra money for the private school, and you were privy to that.
For the private school. Yeah. I was privy to that. I mean, again, it was very important to my mom that it was made clear that, like, the child support I received from my father went to me for my benefit.
So you knew that.
I did know that. I paid for my private school tuition for many years. Like,
my parents, I mean, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. My dad's always had a good job. He's retiring now, finally, after 40 years at the same company. I don't know that they had financial challenges, per se, because they always lived so within their means, but they were always very vocal about what that meant and why they were doing it. Like, I always knew that we could afford more, but we made conscious decisions not to buy as much as we could afford.
Yeah. No, that's good discipline.
Yeah.
So did your parents teach you any important lessons about money?
The one that sticks out for my dad is he would always tell me that just because you see somebody has a big house and a nice car, it does not mean they're rich. And there were two families that we sort of knew of growing up in St. Pete where they owned businesses and it seemed like they were super wealthy. I mean, I was very jealous of these kids. And both of those family businesses went out of business and houses got foreclosed on and vacation homes were no more and there were no more jet skis and there were so it's funny because these were some of the examples that I had as a kid when he told me they're not as rich as you think they are. And then he ended up really, truly being right. That was a big one that stuck with me. Yeah,
no, that's a good one. I guess the millionaire next door, kind of the idea behind that. But yeah, no, that's a really, really, really good lesson. So how do you hope to spend your retirement?
Well, I would like for you to retire. That would be good. It's a little lonely sometimes. For the most part, I'm doing it. I'd like because I'm sort of retired, right? I have House Money Media and Adulting is Easy. We have the rentals, but I like being able to work out. I like going to the gym at off times. Mm-hmm. I like biking. I like playing volleyball and pickleball. I like reading a lot. I would like to travel. I'd like to see some things. I feel like I should go overseas, but really there's more of the United States I want to see.
Yeah.
So we're probably pretty aligned, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we went over my list of hobbies at the start of the podcast, and yeah, I don't get to spend a whole lot of time enjoying those hobbies. So I obviously would hope that I can spend more time doing the things I enjoy.
Okay, that feeds into our next question. What is your ideal retirement age?
Tomorrow.
31.
Yesterday.
31.
Yeah, right? I mean, do I enjoy what I do? Absolutely. Is it draining, stressful? Yeah, of course it is. So, I mean, the sooner I can retire, the better for me. Do you expect to retire when your spouse does or at different times? Well,
different times.
I already know the answer to this one.
Different times. I'm a little older. I will say I'm 3 years older. So there's that. That's sort of what I'm leaning on right now. It's been almost a year that I've been done. In 2 years, I feel like we'll be like tied at that point.
Okay.
And that's when it becomes like misaligned.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. We're kind of going through this at our younger ages, but I always kind of wondered, like, my parents and even your parents and older people, when one spouse retires and the other one's still working, that always seemed kind of odd to me. Like, what is that other person doing now?
Well, my mom left her job when I was born, so they've been cockamamie me for so long. But that almost, I think, made it harder for my dad to retire. Like, imagine my mom, like, had a career and, like, retired, like, 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I feel like he might feel the pull more. But instead, it's been since 1989 that my mom hasn't been working. And that actually may make it harder for him. But your mom and your stepdad, they're 10 years apart in age. Like, it sort of makes sense that he would retire first, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it just depends.
What retirement accounts do you have, and how often do you contribute to them?
I have a 401k that I don't contribute to anymore because I don't have a job. I have a Roth IRA as well. And I guess that's really it. I have a HSA, very small HSA of about like $10,000.
Yeah, it's interesting because we were very aggressive in contributing to our retirement accounts for the first 10 years or so.
Yeah, early on.
And so we contributed quite a bit, which is awesome, to the point where it's like now I only contribute up to the match.
Yeah, in your 401k.
In my 401k. So it's just kind of interesting how that worked out.
And then we've maxed our Roths. We've never not.
We've always maxed our Roths.
Yeah, for at least the last, I would say 6-7 years.
Yeah.
So we haven't done it yet for 2024.
Which we should have given the market.
But
we don't time the market.
But given the woes of the emergency fund situation
right,
last year,
yeah,
we need this year to catch up. Okay, so when can you afford to retire based on your current savings? Going at the rate you're going, when can you afford to retire?
I don't know.
It depends on lifestyle.
Yeah, that's exactly
right. Hugely. A lot of people, if you have a W-2 job and a normal career, you can pretty much, and you live kind of normally, say like you're saving 20%, spending 80%, which would be very normal, and you're actually doing very good. It's actually not normal because that's a lot of savings, but let's say you do that. You can really predict, if I want to keep living like this when I retire, and you have this career, and it's that you can do a lot of forecasting. The way we've lived and done things, and we don't necessarily know where we want to live. We don't even know if we want to have a kid. There's a lot of
so many unknowns,
questions.
And I think, being an owner of an engineering firm further complicates that. A lot would depend on how that transition occurs,
right?
What that looks like. So, but yeah, do we get the lottery house on the water, or do we stay put? That's
before 40, though.
Yeah, hopefully before 40.
Yeah. Do you expect to work at all during retirement?
Okay, it goes back to the when question. If I retire sooner, then I would probably expect to do something, especially since I'm a licensed professional, so I can do decent hourly work and make good money and maybe not work all that hard. So I probably would. What are your current investments?
Our current investments are real estate. We have 4 properties. Our loans are $1.4-ish million, we realized. The market value of those is, what do you think, 2.5-ish?
Yeah.
Something. We have the retirement accounts that we just talked about. There's 500 in there, maybe? 6?
Well, I would say 6.
6. And then the brokerage account, I was like 150.
Mm-hmm.
And then the firm, pretty much.
Yeah, which it's a wild card as to what that's worth.
About $14 in cash. About $5,000 in personal belongings.
Yeah, but like a lot in furniture.
A lot of furniture.
Maybe like, what did you say, $25,000 worth of furniture?
More than that.
More than that? I mean, no. Between all the different Airbnbs and rentals.
It's not an investment, really. I guess it's an investment because we don't have to stage the places when we want to sell them.
What about your crypto holdings?
Oh, yeah. $1,000.
Yeah.
Really moving the needle there. I forgot about that. We can retire from my crypto.
Now, if you would have bought $1,000 worth of Bitcoin 10 years ago,
probably, but yeah, it would be good. But that, like, it's been very not good for a few years now. So we'll see. So that's it. That's our last question.
I can't imagine being like on a date and going through some of those questions.
It's like while you're dating. It's not like on your first date.
Just break out the paper, you know. All right, so
that would be me. I did ask you like if you had an emergency fund on like maybe date 2.
You asked me sooner. I was kind of caught off guard.
Okay,
there,
what was the answer? No, this was no. You did not have an emergency fund.
But yeah, here we are.
Well, now, yeah, you got an emergency fund like that. Like once we talked about it.
I'm also trying to like think of these questions from the perspective of if we were dating. You know, how would these questions have been answered? It would have been probably a shorter conversation at that point.
There's a book called Smart Couples Finish Rich that is a good book, I think, for people who are like not early dating, but dating pretty sure it might get serious at some point. You don't even have to be engaged, I don't think, but that's a good book for people to read. But I will put the link to this Equifax article in the show notes as well. Guys, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at AdultingIsEasy, on Instagram at AdultingIsEasyReal. I also have some videos on YouTube. This will not be there. This is audio only. You can email me at lauren@housemoneymedia.com. If you like this episode, you may also like episode 113, where Aric and I discussed couples and whether they should have joint or separate finances last Valentine's Day. Thanks again for listening, everybody. Hopefully, Aric and I have made adulting a little easier for you.